Novak Djokovic is warming up for his bid to defend his Australian Open title. Videos from Australia showed him hitting practice shots at Melbourne Park, training hard after winning a court challenge to stay in Australia. But the tennis world number one still faces the threat of deportation. It is still unclear if Djokovic will participate in the Australian Open or whether the government will extend legal proceedings against the player. Australia's immigration minister and government lawyer Chris Tran may consider recancelling Djokovic's visa. Under their immigration law, the minister has exceptional powers and discretion to cancel visas for whatever reason. And if the minister makes that decision, Djokovic could be banned for 3 years from Australia. Currently, the federal government is looking into the fact whether Djokovic lied on his entry form. Now, before we tell you more about this, take a look at this video.
Good luck in Australia.
Thank you very much. You're very kind.
Good luck in Australia.
Thank you very much. You're very kind.
That was a young tennis player wishing Djokovic all the best. Nothing unusual for the world number one. Except this happened at the hotel in the Spanish city of Marbella on the 2nd of January. Now, in the document submitted to court, Djokovic was asked if he had traveled overseas in the last 14 days prior to him traveling to Australia. Djokovic had ticked the no option in the form, but the new video shows that he had traveled to Spain just days before flying to Australia. Another issue of controversy is the reason for Djokovic's exemption. His lawyers said that he was given an Australian Open COVID-19 vaccine exemption for testing positive on the 16th of December. In his affidavit, Djokovic said he knew of his COVID-positive test result on the 16th of December. But that same day, he was photographed at 3 events. None of the other participants or Djokovic were masked there. Now, the following day, he was also photographed at a youth awards event. The family also refused to answer questions on Djokovic's positive PCR test. Djokovic's Australian visit has been under the scanner after his visa was cancelled last week. Authorities determined that he did not qualify for a medical exemption from the rule that all arrivals to Australia must be vaccinated against COVID-19. The Australian Open begins on the 17th of January, and if Djokovic wins, he will become the most successful men's player in history. Djokovic may have returned to the courts. However, his release hasn't doused the political fires that have played out in Australia over the past week.
I think that this tournament is much bigger than any one person. It is much bigger than any one person. And, I think that Rafa and a few others have made the position very, very clear. This tournament is much bigger than any one person. It's a Grand Slam. It's the biggest thing in tennis in the first quarter of the year, every year. It's a massive event for us, and it's bigger than any one person, whether that be, in the court or on the court.
The Men's Tour ATP released a statement this morning and called for a clearer understanding, communication and application of the rules. The ATP and Djokovic don't see eye to eye on most matters, with the Serbian having floated his own player's body in 2020. Yet the ATP expressed solidarity with Djokovic and said the entire drama was damaging on all fronts, especially for Djokovic's well-being and his preparations for the tournament. But in a rebuke pointed in Djokovic's direction, the body strongly recommended that all tour members get vaccinated. Australians remain divided over whether Djokovic should be allowed into the country despite being unvaccinated. There is also a fair smattering of sympathy within the tennis community over what the 34-year-old has had to endure. Support also came from another player who faced a similar situation but did not have the backing and the standing to fight back. Now, Czech player Renata Voráčová had her visa cancelled after her medical exemption was rejected by the border officials, and the 38-year-old was then lodged in the same detention facility as Djokovic before being deported.
Well, with me was a little bit different, I think, than in Novak's case. because I really didn't know after questioning what I supposed to do, what are my rights, and there was with me people from Tennis Australia, the lawyers, which were helping me in this case, and they didn't appeal for this for court. So I didn't know actually that I could do it, or what are the possibilities, or how I do it. So I just follow the advice they give me.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.